Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Welcome. The ego seeks to divide and separate. Spirit seeks unity and heals. By Pema Children. I hope I said the name right. Please forgive me if I didn't. That's my quote for today. I like this quote. I really do, because there's so much truth in this quote. And that's my topic that I'm talking about today. And what happens when we hold on to the ego? First, I guess I should go into talking about what exactly is the ego, right? So what exactly is the ego? And I don't want to get into the whole Sigmund Freud's definition of the ego, the id, and all of this stuff, that we learned back in psychology, right? So, but the basic definition is that our conscious mind is that part of our identity that we consider to be our self-image, right? But we know this image is not our true self, but it is the self that masks or disguises itself with labels and judgments. So how can we transcend or go beyond the ego? And the way to do that is through self-awareness. Now, this is basically a continuation from last week. And so I talked about letting go and why we should let go, right? And letting go of the things that no longer serves us, which includes people, habits, behaviors, as well as our emotions. And we know that this could be a difficult thing, right? To change habit and to control our emotions. But we need to let these things go. And so when we're able to let these things go, we are able to enhance ourselves and to grow and evolve as a spiritual being, right? A personal growth. If you're into spirituality, we're able to grow and to evolve. And so when we don't do that, we create these different areas of our lives, such as relationships, right? And we know that the ego, right, can really bring harm to relationships, right? The ego. And I'm not just talking about intimate relationships, with the loved one, but in business, right? In business, in politics, and running the country, and so many different things because of ego. And so we need to be able to be mindful of this. And so, but when we let go of the attachments, when we let go of the labels, when we let go of all of these things, let go of the old habits, the old behaviors, the old beliefs, with a new mindset, we are able to go beyond and lose that old sense of self when we are able to let go. Because this is what helps us to evolve and make clearer and better choices in life, and to live in a state of being present. Right. And so these were some of the things that I talked about last week, and letting go of the anger, fear, false expectations. And I mentioned beliefs already, as we change our perspectives, because by doing so, we change our perspectives, we change our circumstances in our lives. Right. So with the ego, right, if we can lose the ego, we're able to go beyond, we're able to go further, and then we can understand, we have a better sense of self and who we are, right? And we're not holding on to these attachments and to these old beliefs. And when we're able to do that, you will see that it enlightens you in so many different ways, and it brings about a change, a transformation of better relationships, right? Not only with yourself, but with others in the process. Because it's when we drop the ego, there's room for more love, right? And so there's room for more love, and we focus more on, and not love for ourselves is important. And I'm an advocate for self-love. I'm an advocate for self-care, right? And self-care is loving yourself. So, but what I'm referring to in this context is when we are able to lose the ego and to go beyond this old identity of self and this old attachments and beliefs, these old ideas and beliefs that we carry, we are able to evolve more and move more in a spirit of love, right? So moving more in a spirit of love. And why is that important? Why is that important? So when you move more in a spirit of love and you focus on, again, not just self, but you see the importance of the collective, right? And what do I mean by the collective? I mean the collective, the whole community of people, and people, everything around us, because it's all important, it's all matters, it's all relative in this whole scheme of life. Although we may not see it and see the importance of it, and some may, but it's important. It's essential for our growth. It's essential for our evolution, right? That we need to be able to be mindful of being present, and being mindful and being present brings the self-awareness. So losing the ego help us to, and the only way to go beyond that is through self-awareness. Okay, so the way to go beyond that with the ego is to going through the process of transformation through self-awareness. And so it is important for the reasons I mentioned before, right? Bringing us closer together as people, right? Bringing us closer where we are united and seeing the importance and the relevance of all things, all living creatures, all things, the importance of everything in our surroundings. And so it's so important when we're able to connect, in this way of love, right? And because that's the ultimate frequency, that's the ultimate, I would say, the highest level of enlightenment. And this is in my opinion, when you really look at it, think about it. Think about when we operate in a place that's not from a place of love, when we operate in a place that's fear-based, right? And when we're stressing all the time. Sometimes we don't always make the best decisions. Sometimes we're stuck in our own heads and we need to get out of our own way, right? And we make hasty decisions based out of fear and anxiousness and worry and stress. Right? But we need to know the role that the ego plays, right? And sometimes our ego get in the way of making rash, important decisions. It can get in the way because we are either too prideful, or we are too where we're focused on self and it's all about me and nothing or no one else matters. What I'm saying, you are a priority, and it's important for you to put yourself first. And that is not an act of selfishness. Okay, that is not an act of selfishness at all. That is necessary for us, for our overall health, our overall well-being. We need to do that. But losing the ego, as far as what I'm referring to, I'm speaking of when we are so concerned about judgment, right, from other people, concerned about maybe what others may say or what others may think, or this image that we try to portray in order to feel validated or approved from others, right? We're not being our true selves. We're not being our true selves when we do that. So we put up this facade, so to speak, as if everything may be okay, as if everything is all good, right? And what the ego tends to do is build a wall of defensiveness, where you need to defend your image. You need to defend, this false sense of self. But someone who has chosen to lose the ego does not think in that manner. And sure, it's something that you have to develop over time. And as you begin to evolve, as you begin to grow spiritually, you will definitely understand that. It's important for me to speak about this. And you're probably wondering, this podcast, when I talk about intentional living, it's intentional, right? We set the intentions for our lives daily of how we want our day to be, how we want our daily lives to be, right? And our daily lives is not meant to just go out and work, right? Go out and work every day so that we can just simply survive. There's beauty in enjoying the simple things in life. There's beauty in the present moment, right? There is so much beauty in just sitting down, maybe, whatever it is that you enjoy. Maybe it's just bird watching, deer watching. For me, it's deer watching, squirrel watching, right? It's just watching the animals, in the backyard or whatever, but just enjoying your surroundings, right? Enjoying that present moment. And every day may not be a day where you feel at your best. Your energy level may not be at its best, right? And for women, us women, we know we go through these peaks and these lows, and through with our hormones, and that's why it's so important to understand your body, understand and recognize. Sometimes for some people, how the weather, certain weather, when it's rainy or if it's cold and dark, that these things may also impact our mood, right? And so recognize it, see it for what it is. And know that when you're feeling that way, it's a temporary moment. It's only temporary. It's not going to last, right? And so we can do things to overcome that. We can do things to move past that, where it does not bring us to this really sad and gloomy place. And we can do that by listening to maybe some mindful meditations or practicing mindfulness, journaling, writing in your journal, right? Setting your intentions for the day. And just writing a letter to you, how you're feeling at that moment. Sometimes that alone is enough to just let it all out, so to speak, right? And so you release it and you let it go. When we realize that we're not focused on stuff, that what matters is the collective, right? That everything matters, that we matter, of course, and everything around us matter, because one thing impacts the other. And you're probably like, what are you talking about, right? One thing does impact the other, but you have to be present and you have to be mindful, right? Aren't you grateful to just get a breath of fresh air, right? You don't have a cannula, or oxygen tube going in your nose to be able to breathe. That's a blessing, right? You don't have that. You're able to move your digits, right? You're able to move your fingers. You're able to stand up and stretch. You're able to walk. You're able to do the simple things in life that some cannot do. And not to say to use their situation as a means to empower yourself, but it's a way to recognize that what you think is bad for you, right? Others may have it worse. Others may have it worse than you, and are probably, and some are so much happier, even though they're in a position where they can't do certain things, or or to the extent as much as they would like to. We've got to be grateful in every moment, in every situation. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this topic today, the act of letting go and losing the ego. So it's only when we lose the ego, we can really go beyond just focusing on self, right? Focusing on the judgments, the ridicule or labels, right? That you maybe, it could be good or bad, right? And maybe you have this certain image that you need to uphold and you need to protect, right? So maybe you are some, I don't know, social media or celebrity or Instagram celebrity. I don't know. Maybe you're and you have this image to uphold, right? And so you're always dolled up with makeup, or you're always done. And I have nothing against makeup, but I'm just saying, maybe for you, it's always making sure you're dressed to impress, or your hair is in tip-top shape, and this is the image that you portray. But what is behind the layers, right? What is behind the layers? What is when the camera is off and no one is watching you? What is it with the true self that you don't want others to see? You know that this is only your image, that you're doing it because whatever your reason may be, right? But what about being your authentic self? What about being who you really are? And nothing is more authentic than being who you really are, and just losing the old self and being your authentic true self. In my opinion, I believe, for me, that is the way to really total freedom. And when I'm speaking of total freedom, I mean the freedom, and I want to give an example. There's so many people it's hard for them to even be themselves. It's hard for them to be themselves and express who they really are, for shame, ridicule, not being accepted, being judged by others. And so, and we wonder, why this person decided to take their life or whatever. And we don't really understand what is happening on the inside of the person. And when a person cannot be their true self, whatever it may be, right? And so we cannot judge others, whatever it may be. So it's just being able to be open and accepting all of who you are, accepting all of who you are, and then taking all of who you are and using it in a creative way to serve and benefit others, and operating from this place of love, right? And it's so powerful. And when we can do this as a collective together, boy, we are unstoppable. And the things that are happening right now in the world, I mean, I think things could be different, could be a lot better than the way some things are happening around the world right now. And so we know that, some things are in place intentionally to keep us in a state of fear and to keep us in a state of being depressed and things like that. But we have to be stronger than that. And the creator of all knows best. Some say source, God, creator, Jehovah Witness, Yahweh, Allah, whatever you choose to call him. And I have no shame in saying I am a Muslim woman, right? But I'm a woman first who just happens to be Muslim. And so I believe in a higher power. I believe in the creator of all. And I think when we can come to a place where we are not looking at others, whether it be their skin color, their sexual orientation, preference, or whatever, or looking at other people and making judgments and assessments on other people, right? Because those who judge will be judged the hardest, will be judged the most. They too will be judged. So we have to remember that, and to just be more of a person who is being more kind, being a better human, to be kind and giving and loving, right? And I'm not saying be a dummy, right? And give everything away or be a fool and let somebody take all your money and now you're left with nothing. You know what I mean, right? And so let's be more mindful. Let's be more intentional. Let's lose the ego, right? Get rid of the old habits, ideas, and beliefs that is keeping you stuck, right? And in life, we choose. We always think that we don't have options. We always think, well, this is the only way. No, you just haven't found another creative way to come up with a solution for a problem of things that we need to do. So everything that we do, if we're choosing to be happy, then that's what we get, right? If we choose to be miserable, then that is what we get, because everything that is on the outside has been manifested from in here. So let me say that again. Everything that is on the outside, which is your reality, has been designed, manifested from in here, your mind, your brain. That's correct. From your mindset, your thoughts. Okay. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, folks. It's chilly outside today. I'm here in Cleveland. It's chilly weather. It was actually snowing, but guess what? It's still bright out. The sun came out for a little bit. So I am grateful. Okay. I sure wish it could stay sunny longer, but it is what it is. I'm grateful. If you like this video podcast, please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned. I look forward to speaking with you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.